Okay. Yep, there we go. Hi, Wayne. Thanks for getting with us. Anyway, I just wanted to give my heartfelt thanks to each one of you. It's been an interesting couple of months. I feel like we were bombarded by the press, and thank goodness for Eileen and Al to um, handle all that stuff because there's a lot of stuff going on, and I don't know if hopefully everybody saw the article that Eileen wrote that's been published, I think, twice now, which is a really good article. And I just wanted to say thank you for everybody. Some interesting observations. I think Phil, we had a Saturday ride that had somewhere close to 30 riders here a couple Saturdays ago. Um, so I've seen a pickup in the people that ride. Sunday's ride this last Sunday, there was a lot of riders that went around, and so it seems like there's a lot of participation, and I feel like I've seen a lot of new faces joining rides too, which is pretty exciting too. So I just want to say thank you for everybody's hard work, and with that, I'll turn it over to Wayne, where we'll talk about the next board meeting, which is interesting because I don't think we've set a date as a team, and then just if anybody has any questions, we can have a motion to approve the minutes. Wayne, you want to take it away? Are you there, Wayne?
Hello, Wayne.
Well, we actually have a picnic meeting, annual meeting in November.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the issue is our last Thursday. I think the meeting dates are the last Thursday of the month, and that doesn't work well with, I think, in November, if I recall. That would actually be November 27th, which is, there could be a lot of people coming back off of Thanksgiving holiday. So does anybody have any thoughts or recommendations for our next meeting?
Last year, we counted the fall meeting as our board meeting. Again, and cover a few of the major items, in our announcements there.
What do we have that scheduled now?
10th of November or something. Sandy should know better.
Yeah, I'm looking. Hang on.
November. Oh,
It's Sunday,
It's the 5th.
the 5th,
yeah.
3 p.m.
Okay.
Got it. I actually
Some-
have that on my calendar right in front of me. I can't
Is
believe
it is it 3 or 4?
Sunday.
Is it
Three.
a 3?
Starts
Well,
at 3.
That's interesting because it may not be 3. I've got 3 because that's when the room is available for us. We would need confirmation when it's supposed to actually start.
Okay. So I'll get with Gloria, but that's actually the save the date in my calendar says 3 p.m. on the 5th of November. So I'll get with Gloria and find out if that's the start time, and then we'll fine tune that. But we'll say our next meeting is November 5th in person at the fall event. Does that sound good?
Yep.
All right. And with that, Wayne, are you there? Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had some computer issues.
Wayne, before you go, where is the meeting going to be November 5th?
It's going to be at the Lake House at River Lights, where it was last.
Not on the board anyway.
All right, and so my action on that is I'll get with Gloria and make sure we fine tune the start time and get it advertised. Wayne, outside of a motion to approve the board minutes, I know I from last time I reviewed them, and I didn't see anything that jumped out at me in particular. So can I get a motion or are there any comments on the meeting minutes? If there's no comments, can we get a motion to approve those meeting minutes?
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
All right. And a second?
Second.
All right. Great. Wayne, do you have any other secretary business you want to bring to the table?
Just my comment to bump Tammy up in the agenda because, well, last time she didn't get to introduce herself.
Yeah, so I did that, and you may have a slightly altered, or I might have a slightly altered agenda that didn't get out to me, but I moved on the committee reports and moved Tammy up because I think we missed her last time, or part of what she wanted to talk about. So I got her up to kick us off. All right, anything else, Wayne?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you. We'll go on to the treasurer's report, Tony.
Okay, well, the good news is there's no surprises. If you saw my amended, corrected thing, I had forgot to put the donations down. Anyway, we have at this point $42,800 in the bank. There is $6,700 in checks that are outstanding. These are 3 of the donation checks. Beth, what are your plans to hand those out?
So I am meeting with Burgall Middle School and the Blueberry Festival folks on Wednesday. I have 2 different appointments with them. And then I think I'm mailing Stan from the Hampstead Hams his.
Okay. All right, that should bring those to closure, I would think, by the end of October, certainly the end of November, so that's not a problem. Anyway, we know what those checks are, so we have an adjusted balance of about $36,129. There's no surprises at this point. There's 3 accounts that are accounting for the major portion of what we have. 2 of those accounts, I'm not sure how much is going to be spent there. That is the marketing. There's $1,000 budgeted, and I'm not aware of any activities in that area. So that might increase our balance. And then the education area has about $1,000 budgeted. Tammy, do you expect that we'll have any LCI training or anything between now and year end?
I don't between now and year end, but I do expect 2 next year.
So you would want to maybe bump the budget up next year and from 1,000 to maybe 1,500 or more. Well, we can discuss that later, but that's fine. Anyway, if we don't have those 2, the year-end balance, then will be closer to 34,000 than it is now. The other accounts are all tracking to the budget. Unless somebody has questions, I don't have any more things to discuss in that area.
Anybody have any questions for Tony? I just have a comment. Beth, I think you were doing a triathlon or something the last board meeting, so we were celebrating your victory at the Tour de Blueberry. What a ride! I mean, it was just fantastic. Probably one of the most enjoyable Tour de Blueberries I've had, and it just seemed like it was a home run. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank y'all very much.
I got a comment too. I mean, it just blows my mind, away when I think, when we're talking about thousands of dollars in our bank and so on like that. And I'm thinking back, to, when, we were down to like 40 members and had like $99 in the bank and so on. This club has come a long, long way. And it's because of all of you guys and, particularly Beth and the Tour de Blueberry, but, and a lot of other people along the way, but it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible. Well, if there's no further questions for Tony, we'll move on to the committee reports. And as promised, I snuck Tammy up in the front so we don't miss her this time. And apologies for last time. So hopefully everybody got to read Tammy's report, which I sent her a note. I I just thought that was refreshing to get a nice report from Tammy because I could kind of see what the education team is thinking. And I mean, there's notes out there about needing help soon, if we can get volunteers, and that's so helpful. And I guess we got to figure out how to market it a little bit more, maybe on our website. But Tammy, take it away.
All right, well, thank you. For those of you who don't know who I am Tammy Brown Swanson. Everybody's got a different, that would be Landon. Let grandma talk real quick. And so I am an LCI. Thank you. I've been a member in the community since 2005, and I've been here for a while. And what I'd like to do, I'll get you ice cream in a minute. What I'd like to do is just go over a few things. The education committee, we have a lot, and what I call it is it's in my crock pot. It's just sitting there simmering. There's things going on, but they're not, right now, they're not urgent. So we'll skip over all of those things. But first, I do have two events coming up. October 4th is National Night Out. If you don't know what it is, I did try to put a little brief in there what it is, and it's a New Hanover County Sheriff's Office does this, and it's national. And the goal is to unite the citizens and the law enforcement and show that it's okay to have a healthy relationship. Well, when I saw that, I emailed them because I do know a few people in the sheriff's department. I said, hey, how can we get in there? And they said, absolutely. We have worked with the sheriff's department in the past doing bike rodeos for them, and they were just more than happy to get us in there. So Cape Fear Cyclists has a table so that we can set up, we can have any kind of information we want out there. If we want to talk about the rides, about anything about joining Cape Fear Cyclists, education, maps, we will have maps out there. And of course, we'll have some helmets out there. And I will give some helmets away to children and adults that don't have any. And then on October 7th is Cars and Coffee. It is a car show, and it has grown over the past couple of years since they've started it. It has grown drastically. There are now thousands of people that come through this car show. And I was thinking, because I go to the car show, I have an old truck, and I take my truck there, and I thought, wow, all these people here, I could be reaching these people and talking to these people about bike safety and just letting them know who we are and that we exist. And so after speaking with them, we were given a permanent spot at the car show as well to have a table set up. So I also would like some volunteers to come just help me man the table. Last month, it was two of us. Carolyn from WMPO was there, and we talked about bike maps, we talked about routes, we talked about bike safety, and we gave out some helmets as well. So if anybody can come out, all I need is just somebody come sit and help, because sometimes more people come to those tables than I have ears and eyes and hands to talk to. So that would be great. Now,
Hey, Tammy,
Yep.
sorry to interrupt. It's for 2.5 hours.
Right. So the car show is technically from 8:30 to 11:30, but people start leaving around 10:30 to 11 because of the heat. And so sometimes they're not there quite as long. So as long 2.5 hours, I'd be happy with any kind of help during that time frame.
Okay, thank you.
And the National Night Out is from 6 to 9, and that is something that's out of my control because it's actually run by the sheriff's office. So in addition to those two things that the education committee is working on, there's also Let's Go and See. And I'm going to let Eileen talk about that later on, because right now it's just in the very beginning stages, but it is an elementary school curriculum. And it is something that we are working towards in New Hanover County. But I'm not going to go into detail with that because there's not much happening yet, but maybe in the future there will be. Also, Jim, he's another LCI on the education committee, and he has put together an excellent online registration request for bicycle rodeos. It gives a great detail about what it does, about how you can request it, getting on a calendar. So that is something we are fine-tuning at our education meeting this week. And then when that goes live, we will definitely send it out in an email and let you know about that. And then our education meetings are the last Wednesday of the month, and it's at 6 p.m. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build a big group, a variety of people to be on this committee. So say you don't want to be an LCI, but hey, you do care about getting education out there. You do care about even just being involved on a meeting level. We'll take anybody we can get to come. We like the fresh ideas. We like the networking. I just spoke to Wilmington Police Department. I reached out to one of them. I said, hey, it'd be really good to have you on here because in years past, George Perkins, some of you may know George Perkins, but he was an LCI and he was one of our committee chairs for a long time. And so it was great to have a police officer on our committee because it also gives a different perspective when we're looking at things in the community. So I've even reached out to Two Wheeler Dealer asking for a bike mechanic. Talked to Charlie. Many of you probably know him. I'm like, hey, Charlie, you want to be on our committee? And so hopefully he says yes. But say you're out riding with somebody and you're talking about, hey, we do bike rodeos, and they show an interest, please say, hey, we have an education committee, and if you'd like, I'll pass your information along. And then you could just give me their name and number and I'll harass them. I'll take care of all the twisting the arm part there. But that would be really helpful when you're out on rides or you're. Of course, I do have 2 LCIs that are potentials for next year, but I looked at the training schedule and there's nothing the rest of the year anywhere near close to us. But that's okay. We're doing good. We can wait till next year for them to get certified. That's not a problem. I did attend Bike Walk NC and I learned several things there. It was great. That was actually my first time ever attending Bike Walk NC. I don't know why I've never gone in the past. We were able to connect with people. I was able to get some ideas. And one of the things we're going to do is get back into the Boys and Girls Club. It's something that we had let go for a while, but we used to partner with them for a while there. We were doing rodeos with them. We were giving helmets to the kids there. And that's one of the things we're working on. We're going to get back into the Boys and Girls Club. And we're also looking at library rides. That was something that we did take away from Bike Walk NC is an entire library program. So as the education committee fine tunes that and gets that going, we will report more about that. But that's in the very beginning stages now. It is just now getting on our radar. There are many other things, but as I've said, they're just not ready yet to be worried ourselves with them, but we are going to get there. And it's going to be including things like changing our education program. That's something I can tell you. We are changing it. I teach the Traffic Skills 101. Has anybody here ever taken that course? Nobody.
Oh, no, they've
So
not.
I need to get on.
Or-
Oh, yeah, I can't see all the screens. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
it
on
looks
my
like
phone.
4 people raised their hand. Tam.
Okay. So in the past, not in the past, when that course was created, it was created to be a 2-day course. And we had trouble getting people to participate. And then that course got pushed down to an 8-hour course. And when we pushed it down, we crammed in a lot of information. And then it got to the point that even getting people to commit to an 8-hour course, we're finding it difficult. Everybody's busy. Everybody, works. I mean, I have a business. I have grandkids, we're all busy. We're all doing things. And so trying to get people to commit to 8 hours was difficult. So then we condensed it down to 4 hours. And I think some of you may have taken the 4-hour course. And it was streamlined a lot more, but we tried to cram in all of that information. And it's just too much. And unfortunately, by doing that, the participants lose out on what's really out there in that course. So we are changing. We're going to always teach the Traffic Skills 101 because it is a prerequisite to LCI training. However, we have created a 4-hour course. We have created a lunch and learn course as well. And we've created a 2-hour course so that we could just offer it. Hey, let's do a neighborhood, say a neighborhood, an HOA. And I have spoken to HOAs. they're like, "How? Yeah, I wish you could do something bike safety." Well, great. We could do a 2-hour program there, and we can give you the meat and potatoes and leave out bike fit, which takes up time and stuff. So leave out clothes, leave out nutrition, but we can teach you bike safety, rules of the road, and give you the meat and potatoes for safety. So that is something that we are fine tuning on the education committee, and it will be available. And once we have it completely available, you can put it on the Cape Fear site and say, "Hey, this is available if anybody wants to attend classes." And other than that, that's enough for now.
That's
I
great.
have 2 questions for Tammy. Tammy, the online registration request for bike rodeos, is that something that you can work with Bill Culpepper to link to the Cape Fear Cyclist site? Is that where you were thinking of housing it?
Yes. And
Okay.
if anybody requested it, it is something that we just
okay.
started working on. I know we have a form. I know Adrian created a form for us,
Right.
but this site, and he sent
that's
me
great,
he sent me the pilot a little while ago, and I was like, "This is great. This is exactly what we need."
Okay.
So
So if somebody
it
wants a
was-
bike rodeo, you'll send them the form, or in the meantime, it could be housed on Cape Fear Cyclist. So if somebody came to our website looking for how to get a bike rodeo, they could access it there. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And then the second part, and Wayne, you said this in the chat, was we should ping the membership. Tammy, I can email the whole membership of Cape Fear Cyclists. So if you would
Yes.
like to, you and I draft an email together about these upcoming events. I think if we routinely, and Mark, obviously I don't want to overburden the club members with communication, but if once a month or once every 6 weeks, Tammy and I crafted here's what's coming up, here's where we could use some help. Is that okay with everybody on the board? Is that too much?
I don't think it's too much.
Eileen, we can
Good
do
idea.
that. We can do that right straight out of the, as well as I do, right straight out of the club email system.
Yeah,
We don't
that's what I would. Yeah,
Okay.
I would do it through. The club email. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's the only way I ever communicate with the club, because that's the only
Okay.
way I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this way we can be working on that and get the information out there, and also then members will start to see that we have education ongoing for other organizations, and we may have members have an HOA one, or their Cub Scout group, or their grandsons, whatever, fill in the blank, class project. So, okay. So we'll work on that communication, Tammy.
And also
Perfect.
Slack. I mean, there's as many people on Slack as there are on the club now, basically.
I saw that.
So,
I don't know how to communicate on Slack, and doing an email with dates and needs. Well, we can talk about that. And it may be that I'll write the email, and if somebody wants to copy it and put it on Slack, somebody else who's not me can do that.
Where's Sandy?
I'm here. I could do that, and
Yeah.
Bill could do that in my absence. So we're good.
Either Sandy or I. That's easy to do.
Yeah. The
You can
email
include-
stuff is
You can include links and pictures and all kinds of stuff.
cool.
Okay, great. And I did try to give as much information in my update about the 2 upcoming events, so it could be put out there to the membership.
Okay.
So do we want to put those 2 out there that Tammy has got already in email to us?
If you want to go ahead and send it, you can. I was going to take a look at it, clean it up, make it a message, and send it out, kind of.
Well, it doesn't matter to me, either one. I mean,
I can do it. I don't mind doing it tomorrow.
Okay.
Polish it up, and
Yeah.
when it's ready to go, send it to me.
Perfect.
See, Wayne
Perfect.
has his hand raised there, Wayne. You're on mute there, bud.
I think this is great that there's so much action going on
Mhm.
the education side. Thanks, Tammy. And the more we communicate, the better. So if we do it on both Slack and email, I don't think anyone will be bothered. Tammy, I do have one question for you. How long ago were you on the board of Cape Fear Cyclists? Was it like 5 years, 6 years ago?
It was about 7 or 8 years ago.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome back.
Thanks.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions for Tammy? my only comment is the education and training piece of this is usually, I guess, is where primarily young kids will learn about cycling and the love of cycling. And I would suggest we should pay attention to this because it's probably the future of the club, starting right there in the training.
Mhm.
But with that, Miss Beth, floor is yours.
I don't have much to update. Like I said earlier, I'm meeting with the Burgall Middle School on Wednesday at 11:15. If anybody would like to join me for a photo op there, you're welcome to come. I'm also meeting with Jaleese Blackman, who is the head of the North Carolina Blueberry Festival. And I'm meeting with her at 1 p.m. at the offices there to give them their checks and get a photo op with them. Otherwise, I'm waiting on them to confirm when our Tour de Blueberry will be for next year. They haven't set the official date, but once they do, we'll release our information and get our website renewed and start registrations and bring in the money in the registrations again this year.
Yeah. All I can say, Beth, is I've seen you do this for 2 years now because that's when it was visible to me. I have no clue how it gets done. I'll help however I can. Just yell.
Thank you. It gets done because of everybody on the board chipping in and all of our volunteers. So I appreciate you all helping.
All right. Any questions for Beth? Well, Miss Eileen, I think you got 2 spots here, public relations and Terry Benji, and we've worn the public relations out this last couple of months, which is good, I think.
It's okay. It's okay. I have to tell a very quick, I'm going to keep it 30-second story. So 5, almost 6 years ago, Al and I were throwing up our hands and ready to say, we can't have Tour de Blueberry anymore. And I sent an email out to, I was president of Fear Cyclists, I believe at the time. And we had been just dying on the vine and we couldn't get new help. And we said, we're so sorry that we're not going to be able to have Tour de Blueberry because we just don't have volunteers. We don't have any help. And Beth Andrew, my friend who I knew from work at the time, sort of spin class at the hospital gym, called me up. And I was up in Asheville and I stood in the parking lot and stopped what I was doing. And we stayed on the phone for 45 minutes. And I promised you'd have the help you need, and you promised you'd do a good job. And Beth, that's almost 6 years ago. That was, yeah.
I can't believe it was way back then.
I was only because I can picture exactly where I was standing, so I know exactly what I was doing and when it was. And yes, you've been amazing, and you more than kept your promise. So thank you for.
Thank you.
And
time flies when I'm having fun.
And there's nothing like saying, hey, everybody, we're going to cancel this if we don't get help, then you actually get help. But anyway, real quick. So publicity, as Mark said, has been busy. This last episode was really positive. Cheryl Whitaker basically sent me questions. I answered them, and she copied and pasted. I've never had a relationship like that with a newspaper. But I will say the one thing that they got wrong is that they said that Raleigh is the safest place in the nation. It's just not. It's nowhere near safest in the nation or second safest. It might be second safest in the state on somebody's scale, but one of the members called it out on Facebook, and that's fine because that was incorrect. But regardless, that was a really good episode. Very end of the interview, the last thing he said to her, he goes, we talked a lot about, responsibilities. What would the one thing that cyclists should do to stay safe? And Tammy just kind of listed off a few things that we should do. And that's what he published as his story. And it came across as if Tammy was laying the burden of safety on us. And so I use that to say, number one, Tammy's an amazing educator. and her intention was not to come across that way. But I also use that for all of you because I've had professional media relations training, and Mark possibly has in his job as well, and others of you may have. And when they say, oh, one last thing, one trick we were taught was to use phrases like, as I said earlier, or I will reiterate an earlier statement. Because what you do is when you give somebody a standalone statement, unfortunately, they can sometimes carve it out. And Tammy felt really bad because it came across as if she only spoke about the role we play. And she had done 2 hours of meeting with this guy about everything, and the role cars play, and the roles police play, and the role multi-use paths play in safety. So sometimes it goes really well, sometimes it doesn't. But the good news is we're getting a lot of publicity. We are in an inflection point in our society, and this is leading me into the Benji Foundation report, where the amount of money, there's $11 billion in the current infrastructure bill for bicycle and pedestrian safety. billion. We've never seen money like this. It is flowing into communities so hard and heavy. It's so exciting. I have in the past 6 months been on 4 feasibility study groups. So, and other members of the Terry Benji Foundation have been on those groups. So I want to go through those real quick and then tell you the most exciting news. So we've got Mo Lindquist and Eileen Clute are on the Curie Beach East Coast Greenway feasibility study. And that's to study the potential continuation of the Island Greenway from Carolina Beach to Fort Fisher. And that will be amazing because it's on the East Coast Greenway, and it would get us off Fort Fisher Boulevard. It would give us a viable path through Curie Beach that is not Fort Fisher Boulevard. Myself, Steve Zinder, and Adrian Harrington are on the Gullah-Geechee Heritage Trail feasibility study. Adrian's actually a consultant on that project. Steve and I are on the feasibility study group, and that group is studying the Greenway/Blueway from Navassa to Belleville. It's just such an exciting time. I just can't believe how many groups are looking at changing the way we look at bicycles and legs and transportation. I also was on the Southern Pender Bicycle Pedestrian Plan Committee, and the Pender County Commissioners are about to, in October, vote on this county's first ever bike plan. Pender County has never had a bicycle pedestrian plan in its history. So fingers crossed that they approve it in October, because Hampstead is very heavily represented. I almost never ride my bike anymore because I can't ride my bike from my house. Well, I could if I wanted to get killed, because I live 1 mile from Highway 17 and I can't go anywhere without going out on Highway 17. There's another feasibility study that came our way, and Phil Hunziker, thank you. You're the best choice for this one. So this one is the downtown trail along Burnt Creek Parkway. Is it, Phil? Burnt Creek Parkway. And so this is actually phase 2 and phase 3 feasibility studies for a new trailway connecting downtown, the north side of downtown Wilmington. And so, Phil, is that committee starting to meet next week?
Phil's not on Eileen.
Phil, I'm looking at
Phil's not on Eileen. He's not on.
I volunteered.
Oh, there you are. Hey, how'd you get on?
Yeah. I volunteered for it, and haven't been notified yet. She said she would notify me, but I studied where it go. It looked like a nice place to put a trail. It sure does.
There's some really good options there. So thank you. And so there's a lot going on, and we're part of it. And the fact is, the Terry Benji Bicycling Foundation has become top of mind for the WMPO, for NCDOT, for people who are wanting to work on bike safety and moving forward. And then the most exciting thing happened was a week ago. I got a call from Dennis, the executive director of the East Coast Greenway Alliance, wanting to know if they could partner with us to request a grant from the New Hanover Community Endowment, which is the endowment that was created when Novant purchased New Hanover Regional Medical Center. East Coast Greenway cannot apply alone because they're not a New Hanover County address. we weren't going to apply alone because we weren't ready to apply for that much money. So with Dennis's help, and Al will probably have a heart attack when he hears the amount of money we asked for, but we applied for $300,000 with the East Coast Greenway Alliance, which is $100,000 a year for the next 3 years. And the centerpiece of that is what Tammy referred to. It's a program called Let's Go NC. It's a curriculum that's already been approved by the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. It's already been approved by NCDOT. And our proposal brings that curriculum to all 25 New Hanover County elementary schools over the course of 3 years, with money to keep the trailer updated, to buy new equipment as needed, to make sure that we have helmets and bikes and media relations. And then East Coast Greenway's interface with it would be they would use their experience working with the schools to be able to make recommendations on future trailways in New Hanover County that would make schools more safe to access for children. So we spent last week, it was stop everything you're doing because we have to do this grant request, and we did it in a single week, and we submitted it on time on Friday. And then the final thing is that we're also using that information to request a grant from Honda for the same program. So if we don't get one, maybe we'll get the other. So we're requesting serious money from serious players to bring Let's Go NC education and curriculum to 25 elementary schools in the next 3 years. So yeah, we're going to need some volunteers. And also the grant does have money in it to pay a UNCW intern. And so we would be adding an intern from the School of Health and Human Sciences to help us with our project. And that's what I've had going on.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's so exciting.
Eileen, I hesitate to say this because you just rattle through thousands of wonderful things that are happening. But you mentioned that there was some negative feedback of that bit on television about responsibilities of safety. And I just want to mention, and I don't want to overshadow all the good things that have been done, but I've had 3 or 4 people come to me that are not bikers, not bicyclists, or barely bicyclists, and they said, "Why is it always the bicyclist's fault?"
Good.
And I felt bad about that. I'm just, everything is going well, and it's the cyclist's fault. It's not.
It's not. She was. And every so often you'll hear somebody saying, "No, I was taken out of context," and you're like, "Well, and it was." But we're still doing our best, and it's all you can do.
No question about that.
Yeah, thanks, Sandy.
Thank you, Eileen, because it was so out of context.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the positive part of that, because you
did a great job, and then it got flipped. And that's what happens with media sometimes. It's like that question, when did you stop beating your wife? Like, how do you answer that question? That's always the first thing they teach you in media training is when to just not even answer it. But anyway, and I do have a written report that I will upload because I know I just went over a lot of information.
Yeah, I haven't, just for what it's worth, I have not heard anything negative about the report that Tammy did. Nobody said anything to me. So, we just do the best we can. We got good people and know what they're talking about. And, and for me, I just defer to Eileen.
No worries. Happy to help.
There's no question that we're on the right track.
Yeah. Hey, I will say, just to supplement all the great things you're doing, I think most of you have heard that the department's in the process of replacing the Banks Channel Bridge and the Lee's Cut Bridge. And before that even got advertised, I had, and for business purposes, I had some discussions with Chad about it. And I'm happy to say I actually saw preliminary plans, and it has bike lanes in both directions on both bridges, and it also has a pedestrian lane. So that kind of opens. The bridges are usually the choke points, and so I think he's thinking, and in fact, I'm attending a meeting tomorrow about the replacement of those bridges. So if I hear anything unusual, I'll let you know. But we know we have an advocate in Chad, and I can't imagine the city of Wrightsville Beach or NCDOT would shortchange accessibility across those bridges.
Yeah.
Everybody has an opportunity to comment on that.
Yeah,
I put something on Slack on that, so if you haven't, you should.
yeah. All right, anything else for Eileen? Well, we'll shift over to Mr. Al there on advocacy and history and all that good stuff.
Okay, well, I have already, submitted my report, and, you can take a quick look at it whenever you have a chance. I think the big thing was, of course, we had our third Adopt a Highway of the year. We're supposed to have 4 a year, and our third one was, I guess, canceled because of Ophelia. I sent an email to the NCDOT's Adopt a Highway coordinator for our area and said, hey, we really tried, and we have another one scheduled for we have the fourth one scheduled for November 18th. Can we get a buy on 4 and just do 3 this year? And she said, fine, thank you. And we have, a 35-year success rate. So, I think we're in a very good position. So anyway, but bottom line is we're only going to do 3 Adopt a Highways this year. The next one is November 18th. The only other things I had was the Brunswick Heritage Riverside Ride, which is this Saturday. I have been working with the WMPO, the planners there. They are delighted that, Phil Hunsinger is going to be the ride leader, following the police there, just like he does on the River to the Sea ride. And I've already explained to him, hey, we make the River to the Sea ride our club ride in May, but we just can't make, this ride in the fall another club ride, because we have, many of our members really count on a club ride of, 35, 40 miles and a much faster pace than the Brunswick Heritage Ride. And they appreciate that. They appreciate the fact that Phil's going to be there, I'm going to be there, Adrian's going to be there, and I know some others are going to be there helping them. They if you have nothing else to do and you don't want to go on the club ride this Saturday, come on down to Leland and Navassa and do the Brunswick ride. It's kind of a neat thing. And that's all I had. And I'm going to stop right there unless anybody has any questions.
All right, any questions for Al? Well, we'll turn it over to the webmaster, Mr. Culpepper.
Actually, I submitted my report. The numbers looks like September is probably not finished out yet. It's a really low number, but the summer was very strong. And once again, Slack is still the main place where we communicate, I swear. So
Yeah.
nothing else.
All right, any questions for Mr. Culpepper?
Let's see, Wayne. Hello, Wayne. Unmute. In a chat, you said maybe we could put the rodeo sign-up form on the website. We will definitely try to do that.
Yeah, I think that will be good to let the members see some of this action. Plus, inviting them to volunteer is good too.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, any questions for Bill? And we'll switch over to Sandy on membership.
Okay, I think this, hang on a second, I'm going to try and share my screen.
Hi, Linda.
Okay.
Mac is here. Please come.
Hang on just a second, guys.
Or Helen.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Always seems easier when you think you're going to do it. There it is. people have not been always renewing their membership, but we're doing well.
All right. Yeah, I noticed those Slack numbers and membership numbers that converged, which I think is a pretty good thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay, that's that.
All right. Any questions for Sandy? All right. And let's see, I know Gloria's not on, but I know she's feverishly working on our next event. And I think she took feedback from the last event and is making improvements. So the only task I have for her right now is to make sure we get the start time of the event firmed up. We don't really have a road racing time trials category right now, so I don't know if we need to keep that on here. If somebody has interest, it would take somebody that has interest to fill that spot and really push it. Any thoughts? Well, with that, we'll go to Mr. Charlie and off-road.
The thing is, we added it to the bylaws. It's an official bylaw position. So to get rid of it, we have to change the bylaws, I think.
Okay. Is that something we want to think about between now and the next meeting, or I mean, I just have it on here. Maybe somebody will have interest and want to do something.
Just leave it there and leave it empty till we get it filled.
Good. All right, Mr. Hines.
Yeah,
nice to see ya.
not too much. Keep it brief on as far as the off-road stuff goes. Hoping that now that temperatures are cooling off and we're getting into the fall, we can start getting some more rides going, and hopefully my schedule is going to cooperate. One thing I did want to report on is I've actually been doing a lot of individual lessons. I've actually been contacted by several folks, and it's worked out great, and I've really enjoyed it, and it's worked out better for my schedule, where I can just send somebody's like, hey, how about tomorrow at 9 a.m. and we'll meet at Brunswick Nature Park or somewhere, and it's been great because some people reached out to me. They buy a bike, a gravel bike, and then really like basic, like just getting started. So I really enjoyed that. That's not anything that I like. I don't know how to except for just tell you guys. As far as like reporting or whatever, but it has been nice. I feel like it's been great for our club. That somebody can reach out, because the few folks that I've worked with, they don't want to be in a group yet. They don't want to go out on the trail or out on a gravel road because it's a little intimidating. And all of us, and I think it's something as we get older, it's tough to be a beginner. It's really tough to be, a total beginner. And so anyway, just wanted to kind of share you guys with that's been pretty wonderful, just to be able to get some individual time, with some different folks, and helping them kind of get a little bit better with the off-road riding and the gravel riding. So, and hopefully we're going to get some group stuff going here in the fall. That's all I got.
All right. Any questions for Charlie? I'll just touch Tyler, I mentioned, couldn't be on today because there's a personal thing he's taking care of. But so I think between Phil and myself, Tyler, and support from Bill, I think the ride coordinator positions have kind of been switched over to Tyler in full. And it's kind of now become part of the vice president's role, but not officially. But it seems to be working, and he seems to be doing a good job. I just gave him last night. I sent the final Saturday rides for the year to him and Phil to comment on, and he'll get those input. And Eileen, I gave him instructions on how to get our Fear Cyclists website to send out notices for the Saturday ride on Thursday before. So I went through that with him. And I'm kind of excited because there's actually some newer rides on the list. And and if any of you can think of a new ride or another Saturday ride, just let us know, because we're trying trying to incorporate variety. We have a new one out that goes out of Brunswick Forest, I think it is, which is a really nice ride if the weather's right. It's too hot, it's a long one. If the weather's kind of overcast, it's fantastic. Nice long ride. I think there's another one up at Topsail that we're thinking of. It's a loop that now that they've fixed some of the roads up there. So if you have any ideas or thoughts on that, just send them our way. Let's see here. So I guess, Al, I don't know if you have anything else on the historian piece you want to touch on.
Al has switched out to be on a Zoom meeting with his family in Colorado.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I know we had some discussions about touring and last meeting, and I don't know if we've developed that any further, but I've come to learn since that last meeting and through some of you that have been with the club so long that there used to be some fairly nice organized touring rides. And again, I think we'd have to have somebody that's really interested in doing that to help us advance that, but it's certainly something to think about because they sounded like exciting rides. Wayne.
I've been talking to Kevin about it, about doing one where the club had previously out of a KOA at the Virginia border. I'm not sure we can fit it in this year, but maybe in the spring we could do something.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be so. It's surprising how many people have talked to me about how they used to ride these things with their kids. They'd go camping, like Jim, what's his name?
Iannucci.
Iannucci's talked to me about it a bunch. Apparently his family used to do that a lot. So,
and that KOA in Fancy Gap even has a handful of cabins. So we had some people in RVs, one or two in a tent, and then the rest of the club members who didn't have an RV rented a cabin.
Yeah.
And we rode the Blue Ridge Parkway for 2 days.
Yeah, that's why it seems like an ideal venue.
It's a great location. And you can go straight from the KOA, you're on the Blue Ridge in a half mile. Beautiful. And it's hilly. It's really hilly.
That'd be pretty neat if we could figure out how to get some of those organized. So, and then Sandy, when you get healthy, we're still haven't forgot about your trike idea.
Neither have I.
First things first, you got to get healthy, my friend.
I can't help myself but to put in a plug for Cycle North Carolina, which runs one across the state every year, one in the mountains every year, and one in the spring on the East Coast every year. This year it's Little Washington, and there are 2 other locations that they are. And if you want to try it out, try the spring one because it's 2 or 3 days. You stay in wherever you're staying, and you do loops, and it's really great. So, shameless plug for North Carolina cycling.
And I agree with Sandy. And that's where I learned distance riding. We brought the banner. John Apsey, who some of you may have met years ago, he would bring one of those things that you could put up and have a shade. And we'd wind up having 40 Cape Fear cyclists doing the ride across the state. And we'd wind up with 50 or 60 doing the spring ride.
Wow.
And so the beauty of that is all you have to do is say, hey, who's going? Because you're not in charge of booking their stuff. Cycle North Carolina is a wonderful way to do some distance riding. I've gone across the state 6 times, and it's amazing, fully supported. And if you don't want to do tent camping, there's hotels, or there's a wonderful man named Bubba who has Bubba's Pampered Peddlers, and you pay him and he's worth every dime. They set up your tent, they set up your air mattress, they move your bags, and they'll even buy the beer of your choice and have it in their cooler when you come in. So if anybody ever wants to do any of the Cycle North Carolina rides, if you have any questions, I'd love to give you information. I agree with Sandy. It's a great way to do group riding that you are not in charge of.
Right. You don't have to make any arrangements. I've done 10. So
yeah.
So we try to, I mean, I've worked really hard to try to make sure that's on all those rides that get on our calendar, and you should see them there. And I don't know, Phil, I think I heard 2 or 3 people on Sundays where I talk about the cross state ride starts this week, doesn't it? Yeah,
does.
so I think there's at least 2 or 3 people on Sunday's ride that were planning on attending. That'd be cool to get 40 or 50.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
We used to have quite a turnout. Yeah.
All right. Well, my last item on the agenda is the apparel, and I think I've been amazed at how many people purchased the one of a time Cape Fear Cyclist jersey, and I think there's a little bit of concern that we managed to miss the Cape Fear Cyclist logo, but I think if you peer around, you'll see one on Mr. Culpepper's jersey, and you'll probably see one on my jersey before too long, and Mr. Phil's. And I don't know if I should advertise where we get those things from, Bill and Phil, but but there is a ride leader that leads a Sunday ride that's come up with the way to make things to attach to your jerseys.
It's
And
a
We'll
very
go nameless.
yeah,
it's
go
a-
nameless.
it's a somewhat involved and tedious process, however.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, but I think Tyler is going to probably reach out to the club again and see if they want to have a contest or try to do another one-off jersey in the coming year. I've heard him chatting about that. So hopefully we'll hear more from him about what his thinking is. Okay, with that, does anybody have any other business? Well, we've
Look
done
at
a great
you,
job. I'll just say that.
6:58.
What's that?
6:58. Boom.
Yeah. I'll just tell
Good
you that
job.
there's a coach on this call that coached me a lot, and I'm very grateful for that. All right. Well, thank you,
Well done.
everybody, and safe cycling, and I hope I see you out there.
you will.
Great
All right.
meeting. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
See you on the
you.
road.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Right.
Sandy,
Yes.
so I'm not sure, when it asked me if I want to start recording, which I did. And now I guess we click stop recording.
Yes. Yes.